Hi, my name is Usei Kweme Anthony Ramusele. I'm a student of Salford Business School, University of Salford, Manchester. I am embarking on a project which is relevant for our mode information architecture and e-commerce. I'm responsible for the sound and imagery of the blog, production of imagery on our blog. Thank you. And here are my team members.
Hello, I'm Adria Gene Anoshevere. My role is to interview the case study, Chris Procter.
Hello, my name is Anas Dambabesu. My major role is post-production. It's part of film making, video production, and photography process. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Blessed Ese Ejapofo, and my role is the CMS, which is Content Management System, which is to manage and edit and add content to the blog.
Hello, my name is Bangwe Babatunde. My role on the team involves the social media integration and camera operations. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Akpan-Idiok. My role in the team is contacting the lecturer, Chris Procter, and MAN, Media Asset Management. Media Asset Management deals with the audio, video, and then the editing of the interview. Media Asset Management is a subcategory of digital asset management, which entails editing, backing up, renaming, archiving, and importing of files. Thank you very much.
My name is Adria Gene of Salford Business School of University of Salford, Manchester. I and my team are embarking on a group project which is a requirement for our module Information and Architecture and E-commerce. We are here to conduct a brief interview with Chris Procter. He is a Director of Employability for Salford Business School. Can you please tell us about your recent project and that you're working on?
Yes, I'm the director of a project called Unite, which is a partnership between 6 universities in the north of England, whose objective is to support small and medium-sized enterprises in the northwest. The method of support is to provide graduates from the school who will go and provide assistance to those businesses. I'm also involved in setting up a project which is to try and get more British students to join postgraduate programs through a partnership with employers. There's 1 or 2 other smaller projects I'm involved in.
Okay. Yeah. And what are your experiences on the project?
The UNET project that I referred to had a target of assisting 140 businesses over a 3-year period, which we achieved, and we've now got funding for another year. So it was a good partnership in that it helped the businesses, but it also, of course, gave the students much needed experience as well, which will hopefully help them in their future job seeking.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Can you please tell us about the business? What led to you embarking on this project?
We were invited to do so by a university called UCLan, who are based in Preston, and they're the lead partner. They wanted to have as one of the partners one of the universities in Manchester, so that's how come we got involved. And that has, and we had quite a reasonable record of working with local companies, so that's why they approached us.
Okay, right. Can you please tell us about the business model you use for the project?
For that project, the business model is the 3 main stakeholders are the students, the university, and the employers. We go out to speak to employers and say, look, here's an opportunity for you, which is free, and there are certain conditions on that, but then they say to us, okay, here's the requirement we have. Then we go to speak to the students or the graduates of the school or the university and say, okay, if you're interested in participating in this, please let us know what skills you've got to offer. And then we try to place them together, fit the skills with the requirements. Sometimes the employer might then say, okay, I'd like to see 3 students and choose the best one.
All right. In course of undertaking your projects, what criteria and performance objectives do you consider important before accepting to undertake the project you have participated in?
Well, specifically in relation to this Unite project, the funding for it is from the European Union,
Okay.
and they actually have criteria we have to follow. So, for example, the business cannot be in retail.
Okay.
So if a business says, I own a shop, I'd like to have a student come and help me in the shop, they're not able to take part. So we have to exercise those criteria before we get any further. If it's a hotel, no, they can't have this support. So it's much more aimed at businesses involved in, for example, manufacturing. That's because the European Union has specific target areas they want to encourage. And so we're applying those criteria. Now, in relation to the students, the student might send us their CV and say, okay, I'd like to help, I'd like to be involved in this. But if, for example, their CV is really badly prepared, we can say to them, you know, actually, you're not going to get anything with that. You need to go and use the help of the university to get your CV up to scratch. So that's the kind of criteria we're exercising at that early stage. Once the student's in place, we just check that it's working okay. If there's any other support they need, has the student got the right skills, and so on.
Thank you. What performances measures do you employ to ascertain that the objective of the project are being met?
Okay, that's a good question. I mean, the performance measures are actually set by the funding body. The funding body is the European Regional Development Fund. They have performance measures which we have to abide by. The first one is how many companies we actually assist. They've got it as a strict target. Out of those companies, they've got so for instance, our target was 140 businesses. Then out of those, they have a target for how many of those can show a business improvement. And I think the target for that was 110 of the 140. Then they have a target, how many of those businesses have created new jobs as a result of the taking part in a project. How many of those companies have safeguarded jobs? So for each of those sections we have targets which we have to abide by in order to secure the funding. Because we were successful in that, we've got additional funding for 1 more year and maybe for 2 more years. That's to be decided. So this is quite a good model for a funded project.
Right. Questions from my other group members?
Okay, my name is Blessing S.A. Jakofo, and I'm an M.Sc student of Information System Management at the University of Salford. Okay, I just want to ask Chris this question. With regards to the Unite project, you know, like the company, every time they keep changing rules, and what do you think about the future of the Unite project you're currently working on?
It's a very interesting model for us because, of course, it allows the university to use its resources, which our main resources are students, to help local businesses. On the other hand, it allows the students to gain the experience which they can add to their qualifications and will help them in the future. So there won't permanently be government money available for things like these. At the end of the day, they're putting that money in to try and give small businesses a bit of a boost, but they won't always have that money. It's a temporary thing, but it allows us to consider into the future, how can we develop this partnership between the university, the students and the employers. We know the employers want it, we know the students want it, we know the university wants it. The main issue usually is to do with the funding. Now at the moment we've got funding through the government. We've got to find a way, long term, we've got to find a way of making that possible without having that government funding. That's how I see it.
Okay, so within the Northwest region, is it just the UCLan you're working with, or you have other universities that you're also partnering with?
There's 6 in this one. There's Bolton, Cumbria, Lancaster, UCLan, Chester and Salford. Is that 6? I think so, yeah.
That's 6.
Yeah.
Okay, does anybody else in the audience have any questions for us today?
Yeah, my name is Akpan-Idiok, Information Systems for Business School. Yeah, Chris, just to ask 1 or 2 other questions which was not highlighted. Just want to know, like, since you're already like into the academic field and then you have other major projects which you handle, I just want to know, how do you balance or how do you manage being in the academic system and then managing these projects which you work on? How do you balance your time?
That's a good question. I have to balance it on Sundays.
Oh, really?
That's the only way. Because this work for the Unite project is actually additional to my workload. So I already have, my main responsibility actually is to teach project management in the universities, from your own experience. And I also supervise 4 PhD students and other things. So this is an additional job. I don't know. I mean, to be honest, they always say give a job to a busy man, because you of course manage to deal with things that are your priority. And my own personal point of view, when somebody says I haven't got the time to do something, I always think what that means is it's not a sufficient priority for me.
Okay.
You have always got the time to do something if it's enough of a priority for you. But the only issue is how much of a priority is it? So I suppose all that means is sometimes that longer term ideas have to wait, and they have to wait a long, long time. But luckily on the Unite project, we have an outstanding member of staff who's managing that day to day, not me. Pam Mullin, she's managing it day to day. I'm not doing it. I meet with Pam every week. I've met with her today. We spend an hour, we discuss problems, issues, tasks we need to do. But she's doing the work. It's not me. I can't take credit for that.
Okay, actually she does the work, but you work with her.
She does the work. I'm the director, but she's the project manager, and we have another member of staff part-time as well doing administrative work. They're doing all the work, all the phoning, going out visiting the companies, checking the students' CVs, not me.
All right.
She's full-time employee of the university and does a very, very good job at it.
Okay.
Yeah, wouldn't be possible without that.
Yeah.
And all the partners have this. There's 6 partners. They all have staff working full-time in it.
All right. Thank you very much. Yeah. The next thing is I want to find out, like, in respect to the project, like the Unite project you're talking about, how do you, like, the issue of quality and risks, how do you measure that when it comes in? How do you measure that with the project?
Quality and risk.
Yeah, risk management.
In terms of, we've got clear objectives for project. For example, I mentioned that we had a target of supporting 140 companies over 3 years.
All right.
Okay, so we produce a report every 3 months, and one of the things we measure in that is how many companies have we assisted in that period. So we can see fairly easily, are we on track to reach that target or not?
All right.
If we're not, what else do we need to do? Do we need to get more staff in? Do we need to do more marketing and whatever? In terms of risk, there's risk to the overall objectives, but there is also risk involved in the individual companies. So we have to be mindful. Let's just say, for example, that we visit a company, but we judge that the situation isn't safe for the student. Okay, we don't want to take that risk. Sorry, we're not going to go ahead and help that company. And that has happened. We've had a few issues like that where we've visited a company or we've met the company. We don't feel the student is necessarily going to be safe in this situation. So I'm sorry, we're not going to provide you support. That's up to us.
All right.
So, but in terms of risks to the overall project, again, it's a bit related to quality. If there's a risk we won't achieve our target, what do we need to do about that? We need some more administrative help. We'll pay somebody. We've got a bit of money. We'll pay somebody to do a little bit of extra work for us and so on.
All right then. All right. Thank you. Then the last thing I want to ask you is, as regards, like, assuming we as Group 1 team members, like, want to embark on a similar project like this Unite project, what is the advice you could give us? What advice could you give to us? Like,
well, I think it is a model that could be used in other situations in other countries. Of course, The only way the model works at the moment is because the government, and in this case it's the European Union, but it could all equally be a national government, has decided to make an investment in order to develop the capacity of small and medium-sized enterprises in certain conditions. And they've set the conditions. So you could easily take this project idea to your own government and say, okay, here's some evidence that this works, because this project's helped over 1,000 SMEs in the Northwest in 3 years. That's a lot. And there's real evidence of how they've grown, how it's developed the Manchester area. So you could take that as evidence to your government. Okay, it's going to cost them money. So the question is, are they willing to make that investment? But most governments know that SMEs are actually the engine of growth. They are. The large companies are self-sufficient. They either survive or they don't survive according to their business. But actually, it's the SMEs which employ most people and are the future large companies. And sometimes in times of recession, it's the SMEs which are in trouble and they need a bit of an impetus, which a project like this can do.
All right, Chris. Thank you very much for your time. Those answers are quite useful for my course, so thank you very much.
Yes, so now we've come to the end of an interview with Chris Procter. Thank you very much. It was nice having time with you. Thank you for sparing out your time out of your busy schedule. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much for being so well prepared and for organising it. I mean, all I had to do was just come to my office for an hour. But I realised for you it was a lot more involved, and I'm sure there's more follow-up you're going to have to do afterwards, which won't necessarily involve me. I mean, I know I haven't taught much about e-commerce or information architecture, but I hope it was useful.
Yes, it is. Thank you very much.
All right.